and read the scenario that's listed there. The town of Indianola, Mississippi, wants to know what the community thinks about building a high-tech movie theater. Increased taxes will be used to pay for the new theater. Therefore, elected officials are mailing out questionnaires to determine public opinion about the theater and the use of increased taxes to pay for it. What type of research methods are they using? So application questions present you with a situation, then you're going to apply the information to the situation. So is it a case study, an experiment, a survey, or correlation? What's the key term in that to get your answer? In all of that verbiage, what's the key term? Questionnaire. Good, right. So you look at the word questionnaire and then you say, what type of research is done with a questionnaire? Now, I didn't necessarily use that term, though, right? So this is where your vocabulary comes in. So what else is another word for a questionnaire that we covered? And it's listed right up there. So hopefully you get this all right. All right, so why don't you put your answers in? All right, we got it. Everybody put their answer in there. It's 46, 47. Going once, going twice. Got it. All right, so 91% of you correct. Right, it's a survey method. So the questionnaire is another name for a survey, and people are going to mail it out to try to figure out what the community wants to do. And it's a legitimate form of research that's there. The last thing I want to talk about in this chapter is something called the placebo effect. The placebo effect can affect research and really destroy your research. A placebo is an inactive substance given in the place of a drug in psychological research or by physicians who wish to treat a complaint by suggestion. So, what's a placebo? Placebo is a pill given to somebody and you tell the person, this is what's going to happen if I give you this. And then the people begin to believe that. So if I was doing a survey on the effect of vodka, okay, on learning, okay, what I could do is say, all right, I'm going to give you all some vodka, and what I'll do is I'll mix it with orange juice, and some of you, it's bad vodka, so you won't be able to taste it. So what winds up happening is that some people think they get the vodka, okay, and I've got the vodka, and then they start acting drunk, okay, and they'll destroy your whole survey that way. That's also called a cheap drunk, okay? You go out with somebody and they have one little drink and they act like they're drunk. So, but winds up happening, people begin to think that. Physicians sometimes will do this. Now, it's unethical to do this, but some physicians just say, well, it helps the person. If you have someone who's a chronic complainer who comes in like every couple of weeks with, oh, my back hurts, my knee hurts, my ankle hurts, sometimes physicians will say, oh, well, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, last time you were here, I gave you that pill. Did that work? Oh, yeah, doctor, that worked really well. Well, I got the same one. It's just a little different, but this one really helps people who have ankle problems. And what you're going to give them is a sugar pill. There's nothing in it whatsoever, okay? But it looks like a pill, and you tell them it's going to work, and then what happens? It works. Their pain goes away. Why? Because their pain is up here in their head. Okay, they're imagining they have those pains. And it's called the placebo effect. When they do research with medication and they want to see how well, let's say, an antidepressant works, one of the things they'll do, they'll give a placebo to some people, but tell them it's an antidepressant, and then give the real antidepressant to somebody else and see if there's any difference that's there. Hopefully, right, the people given the medication that's nothing in it won't have any help with their depression, but the people who have the medication will. But you know what? With antidepressants, antidepressants also have a high placebo rate. Okay? Sometimes people, when you tell them here's a medication, it'll help you with your depression, they think it will, and their depression lifts. That's there. Matter of fact, most people, when they're put on what's called the SSRIs, which are the newer form of antidepressants, okay, those antidepressants don't usually work for about 6 weeks. Now, for someone, it may be 3 weeks or 4 weeks, but it takes a while to build up in their system. But some people, they take it in the morning, and all of a sudden in the afternoon they say, gosh, I feel much better. These pills really work. And then you look at them and go, that's not what the research says. It says it's supposed to take a while. But if you're a physician, or even the person that's all of a sudden gets help with their depression, what's the difference? It works for them. So remember when I talked about biopsychosocial? Okay? Well, the psychological part is a placebo that could change the way people think and feel and behave just by the thought of it. Just by the thought of it. When we cover the section on drugs and we cover hypnosis, hypnosis also works that way. Okay, when you give someone a suggestion that something's going to happen, you change their perception, and a lot of people just believe it. A lot of people just believe it. Like right now, it's really hot in here right now, and a lot of you don't realize that, but after a while, some of you will take off your jackets and your scarves and things like that, and it really will start getting warm. Do you feel like it's getting warm right now? No? Okay. Who knows? All right, example would be sugar pills or saline injections when you tell people these things occur. All right, so that's really the end of this chapter. So those of you who read the chapter will realize I didn't cover everything. All right, I left some things out. I left the section out about what do psychologists do. I left the section out where we talk about pseudopsychology and astrology and things like that. So I can't cover the whole chapter, but when I talk about the chapter in class, I'm probably covering about 80 to 85% of what will be on your test. So I'm covering most of what's going to be on your test, but please make sure you read the whole chapter, because you never know what kind of questions I'll throw on there that I haven't covered in class. Let's see if you remember this one. This is not in your chapter, but something that we've talked about. Sharing expectancies are important because of what? Boundaries are established. Each member of a relationship will understand what the other person wants. Roles are defined. All of the above. Now, sometimes I'll put a question on the test that's not in your chapter, but it's just something we covered in class. See if I can take you back in your memories. This is the very first thing I talked about in this class. What did I talk about it in regards to? The what? Marriage, right? I'm talking about that. That's good. That was an example I used. But I was talking about the syllabus, wasn't I? Right? I talked about the syllabus, and I said we're about ready to enter into a relationship, right? And when you're in marriage or in a job, we talk about expectancies. So once again, when you study for things, you need to be able to take a key term and a word and then associate what I talked about, okay, to come up with this. So why are expectancies important? Is it 1, 2, 3, or all of the above? Looks like you got this answer already. All right, everybody got it? Okay. All right, so the answer is 78% are correct. It's all of the above. Right? Each member of a relationship will understand what the other person wants. Yes, that's true, but roles are also defined. Roles are also defined. That's there. Okay, so it's all of the above. When you have a question like this and you know that 2 out of the 3 are correct, but you're not sure about the third one, go with all of the above, because you got 2 out of 3 already, right? I don't usually ask questions on my test that are things like 1 and 2 is true, but 2 and 3 are not true, or 3 and 4. Those get too confusing, right? So there'll be more clear questions like that. Okay, so that's the end of that chapter.